Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo of the Code 7 Podcast Network, and we are about to get started with the Dispatchers Roundtable, round 23. It has been a little while since we've done the roundtable. There were national conferences and everything going on, and I wanted to be able to concentrate on those and really hit it hard starting September. So we are here. It is September 22nd, 2021, and again, we're about to get started with the Dispatchers Roundtable. But first, as always, a word from our sponsors.
At InDigital, we know that public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI net goes beyond industry standards, not only I3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Here in Greenville County, we have 8 different places where a 911 call can be answered.
It is the largest county in South Carolina. It's a challenge.
The type of information that a telecommunicator gets from Radius Plus is location-based technology. You can see where the caller is, if they have a medical issue, if they speak a different language. They're immediately able to text to that caller in their native language. It reduces response times because it immediately gets first responders where they need to be.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned. All right. Welcome back. Once again, this is the Dispatchers Roundtable, and we're about to get started with round 23. And I'm going to throw in this intro music for the roundtable. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Dispatchers Roundtable. So as I said in the beginning here, right before we went into the promotions and such, it's been a little while since we've done the round table. Had some national conferences that were going on, but we are back, and I've got episodes lined up all the way until the end of this year. So look out for that. It's going to be awesome. This round of the Dispatchers Roundtable is sponsored by InDigital, as well as Rapid Deploy and Carbine, and we're going to get into an excellent discussion today. Today, the topic is going to be moving your PSAP to the cloud, facts and myths. And there are many things to go over here. So I'm really excited about this episode and about this round, rather. And also a big shout out to patrons. I wouldn't be able to do everything that I do if it wasn't for all of you, and especially those of you who watch, listen, share, and support. So here in the comments, I had thrown some questions out there for all of you to respond to. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting in some of those questions as well in the comments. And let me put something in here as well. So roll call. Where are you watching from? Where are you at? We usually go through this as well for Open Mic Live, but I want to see where all of you are watching from. It is 2 p.m. right now, and usually the Dispatchers Roundtable is done on Wednesdays. It is Wednesday. It's actually Wonder Woman Wednesday. Warrior style. Represent. So we got some people in the comments already saying hello and where they're watching from. So excellent. This is awesome. Also, make sure to throw in some reactions and share this broadcast, whether it be on your feed or your favorite dispatch page. This helps us get that algorithm going, and more people coming in here and watching and sharing and commenting. So again, I want to make sure to put some of these questions in as we're going through this, because I want to see what your answers are about this as well, because we're going to be talking about the cloud, okay, and the dispatch center. There's different things that people think about the cloud, what it is, what it might be, what it can do. And that's some of the stuff that we're going to be going over here today. And I'm going to introduce my guest here. And my guest today is Alex, and he is the founder and CTO over at Carbine.
Hi, Ricardo.
Hey,
Thank you for
how's it
having
going?
me.
Yeah, no,
Good,
thank
good.
you. Thank you for being on. Now, for those who are watching right now, and of course watching on replay, and you and I were kind of talking about this in the beginning. So, as I said just a moment ago, usually we do this at 8 p.m. Eastern time, but you're 7 hours ahead, right?
Yeah.
And that would have been interesting if we would have actually done this at 8 p.m. Eastern time, because that would have been what, 3 in the morning for you?
3 in the morning. Yeah, I'll be like with the coffee, half awake.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, that would have been interesting
Gonna be funny.
to do that with you. But no, here we
Yeah.
are, 2 p.m. Eastern time, so it's about 9 o'clock your time, and you're awake, so this is good.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm looking forward to this. As I said, we have been talking a little bit, going back and forth on this topic of the cloud, and facts and myths. But before we get started into this, I want to know a little bit more about you. Like, what is your background with the company, and what does Carbine do for those who might not know? And whichever one you want to start out with, let's learn a little more about you.
So I came from a background from computer science, mostly focused on machine learning, cybersecurity, a lot of data science as well. Basically, I've met Amir, my co-founder and partner, some like 6 years ago, and when we founded the company. First, Amir came to me with he has like unbelievable story that he was attacked on the beach, and of course he made for the first time in his life his first 911 call, and of course it was like a bad experience. He was trying to explain where he's at. Of course, he at the beach. The first responders were having a very hard time to find him, so he really didn't understand how come like we have all of these amazing devices and we can order Uber anywhere, but like when you need, when you make the most important call of your life, people are unable to find you. And back at the time, like I was working on location technologies, so it was like a natural step for us to cooperate together and set up the company. We were also in the same unit in the army. So we collaborated pretty well together. And basically what Carbine is doing, we're providing emergency communication real-time collaboration platforms, cloud-based. We're basically enabling to communicate from the user devices, location, video in real-time, chat, connecting to different IoT devices, and basically providing a lot of additional information to the call taker and first responder in real time, in a secured and scalable manner. This is in high level.
So what was it like then for you in the beginning when you heard Amir's story? Like, what was that impact on you? Because you're coming from this background and all, and you've got this idea on putting this company together and what you could do better to improve the experience from what Amir had. Yeah.
So first of all, like for me, I was surprised. I would like he told me this story. I said it couldn't be true. No way. Like like you call 911. The government, they all know where you are and what's happening. It couldn't be true. And then I started to reading this story and some FCC articles, and we all heard and know about them, and understood that the fact is and the fact on the ground is vastly different. And being from a computer science background, immediately I started thinking, okay, how this problem can be solved. Now we can provide additional information and beyond location, also video, different information for IoT devices, and basically provide the help to the people who need the most as fast as possible through technology, which is available.
See, and this is this is excellent as well because so coming from my side, I was in dispatch for 13 and a half years, and there would be, a lot of times that people would call and they wouldn't know their location, and they would say to us, you can't just look us up, or you can't just find us anywhere. I'm like, no, you can't. So, the same way as, as Amir, talking to, dispatch and everything, and having kind of that experience, we on our side were then left with feeling helpless because there's not much else we can do. However, we can think in other ways on how to get them help by what landmarks are around you, or what do you see, and really thinking outside of the box. But now with improved technology and everything, it definitely makes it a lot easier for us on our end.
Yeah, definitely, and I assume like it's such a hard work for a call taker to understand what's going on the other side, and people are screaming, and it's really surprising how these devices, they can stream video. They are like they're like small supercomputers these days, and you can deliver so much information. And if the call taker, the first responder, would have these informations, I assume it will provide a lot of value to clear a lot of the uncertainty that's going on during these calls.
Right, exactly. And not just that, but to be able to kind of visualize a lot of that rich data that's coming in as well, right? Because
Yeah.
I remember back when I was in dispatch, there were, I believe I said this to Amir as well in an episode that we did, but I remember we would see like all of our phone call information that would come in, and it was just on numbers. It was like a data matrix printer, and you would hear it just like ring, 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 all this information coming out, right? And it would see it, and it's like it's just numbers. Like
Yeah.
what do we do with it? But now, there's a lot of technology that's actually you can visualize this data and
Yeah.
put something to it, and just really see what is going on there with this tech.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You have so many cases like that. The video actually helped to solve the case and save lives, like giving childbirths, and like providing instructions to the person is calling. This is like this is something you cannot replace. And like sometimes you see these calls, like you hear the voice and you see what's going on, and the second the video turns on, like people are like, oh my God, like I can actually see the scene and react better, understand exactly what's going on. Because in this stressful situation, I know you know better than me. Like people are in stress; they cannot like describe accurately what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah, and also just the way you were saying, reaction time, but also the response and everything to be able to go through and have all this information. Now, I want to segue here into kind of the what we're talking about, the cloud, the definition. So I want to put out to the audience right now. I want to see what the audience says about this too, and I've got some information here that I want to read to you as we're talking about this. But this is the definition of the cloud. Like, what is the definition of the cloud, and what makes it work in terms of technology, equipment, and all of that? But before we get to your answer here, I want to share some of what the audience and social media had said about this too. So a few things that were mentioned are cloud outages, cybersecurity, record management, trend tracking, and then one especially that people have talked about a lot, especially with this global pandemic and all, is working from home. This is another one that a
yeah,
lot of people that have talked about. And what's funny though is that so when I was working for an industry partner, one of the sponsors actually in digital, one of the things that I did was I trained 911 dispatchers on this backup phone system. And I had told them, I said, the way this works, you could work from home and plug in, and we could send your call traffic to all of you at your house or wherever you're at. And this was a few years ago. And I remember directors saying to me, don't tell them that. And I said, what? Why? And they said, because then everyone's going to want to work from home. and but that's something that that people are doing now. They're actually
yeah.
able to do this. So I have a few more things that I want to read to you before we get to your definition of of the cloud and everything. Let me share some of these pictures here. I'm going to go one by one, and so this first one here comes from a good friend, and this is Jameson PV House. And he says, connecting hundreds of millions of devices and sensors to your ECC with granular control over the curated data that reduces stress on telecommunicators and reduces time to dispatch. What are your thoughts on that comment right there?
This is just one of the visions of the cloud. Even we talked about this before. Even the show, what's going on now? This is powered through the cloud. This is how we're able to collaborate through people throughout the world, over the world. This is definitely should be enabled in every ECC. And we're going about the definition of the cloud. So I would say the dry definition is really like a globally deployed data centers, cross-connected data centers, where you're able to provision almost any amount of compute and data storage without any human effort, only automated. And this is, I think, this is the big game changer here. Like to this comment, this is exactly what enables it, because when you have on-premise infrastructure, physically it's separate, it's segregated, it's like your own castle, right? But nothing is connected into it. You cannot deliver rich information from IoT devices, from many medical information, drones, stuff like that could provide a lot of info. And this is definitely has to be controlled, right? You cannot just throw all of this info, all of this technology on the call takers and overwhelm them. You need to have granular control on what and when is being delivered to the call taker, where the goal is eventually to reduce dispatch time. This is the goal, not just throw every bit of information. This is exactly why we're having these conversations and working groups about how the cloud can benefit dispatch centers and ECCs in a controlled manner.
Excellent. Now I've got two more here. Let me pull up this next one here, and let me see. Yeah, here we go. So this one here, it says flexible deployment of operations. Professionals may not be geographically tethered to a center floor. Also an expansion of the continuum of services. Just imagine services such as nurse triage, mental health or 988, customer service, 311, social services, non-emergency, police reporting, and more, all operating from a shared platform located in different places and meeting the members of our community where they are. One call, problem solved. That's what I call service.
Amazing. She summarized it very well. So yeah, this is exactly the kind of things that the cloud enables, the velocity and the speed that you can connect additional devices and platforms. Because one of the problems today in ECC is that all of the call control PBXs are deployed on servers. It's very hard to connect different devices. And even if you have different dispatch centers, how do you connect between them? You have to set up a dedicated trunks, so on and so forth. So with the cloud, we're doing today integrations with different vendors, like within like a couple of hours, because we have a cloud gateway, they have a cloud gateway, and we're collaborating and we're able connect different platforms. And this is a very good example how you can take one platform and enable not just 911 services, but different community service, 311, social services, and provide all of this collaboration from one platform. It's definitely going to streamline all of these communications.
Streamline is definitely what I want. Definitely what we're looking for, right? Yeah. And so I've got this last one here that I want to share, and let me pull it up right here. All right, so this one here says interoperability, portability, and efficiency. It also takes 911 technology to another level, where maybe it will start to attract new 911 professionals that not only want to be a part of public safety, but also love the more advanced technical analytical duties. Also, I love the little joke here at the end. It also makes us think that we are that much closer to taking data from one screen and swiping it through the air to another, just like they do on TV.
We're almost there. Very.
Yes.
Very close. Yeah.
And so kind of the same thing on this one as well. Some thoughts on these comments.
Yes, so it's so true. So today with on-premise and integrations and legacy integration, it's quite hard. Sometimes you see deployments of a new system, of legacy systems, that taking months and years, and it doesn't have to be that. It's not a fact. So with one of the advantages of using this cloud and modern technologies is that you can deploy it anywhere. People can actually work from home very simply. COVID really changed a lot of way that we think and we operate, and it's definitely something that we need to adapt to. And the portability and the mobility side of things, it's definitely something that enables it. You don't need to be physically on premise to handle all of this information and do all of these operations. You can actually, in a secured manner, you have to think about security. It's not coming out of the box. You really have to think about it, but it's definitely can enable all of these advanced capabilities, and I'm sure it's going to attract more and more professionals to 911 that are tech savvy and excited about cloud technologies and new innovations in the field and machine learning and so many benefits that this industry could benefit from.
And as we were saying as well, with the pandemic and all, there were a lot of centers that I know of that were, they had backup centers, and they were just, everything was connected, and there were all these different solutions that were coming out. And as we said before we started, and even kind of here in the beginning as well, just it really pushed everyone to the limit of your imagination on what you could do, but especially with 911, because it's always been behind, right? It's always been behind on the technology that's going out. Everyone was seeing all these different apps, and how can I be seen here, but you can't see me in 911, and what is it that's going on? And people are upset, but we're catching up, and things are coming through. And I think this whole situation in the last year or so really pushed it forward to really start doing what we've been talking about doing for such a long time, right? But how does it work? Like, in terms of the technology and equipment, for those who are watching that don't know, kind of a high level, from your perspective, what goes into it? What actually makes the cloud work?
Yeah, so it's a it's a great question. So the cloud is generally distributed data centers globally across the world, which you can consume resources. So back in the days, like we were usually, and also right now, we're usually thinking about servers, right? If I have an application, if I have my CAD application or call taking application, it has to have a server. I'm seeing the server. I can come and hug the server, and I need to feed it and take care for it and give it electricity and give it connectivity. And if there's an uptime or a downtime upgrade, I have to schedule. So the cloud is vastly different about it. There's an abundance of compute and power. And we really don't care about servers, where they are located. You cannot actually go to Facebook and ask, can you give me the server or where my data is? So this is the concept of the cloud. And the reality is that it's distributed data centers. They're cross-connected. Our platform runs now on hundreds of servers, which we can scale up and down upon demand. If one of them, for example, taken down or crashes, we don't care about it because the system is elastic and dynamic and changes. So try to abstract it for what is the cloud. Eventually, it's I would say you can look at it as a service in which you consume compute, in which you compute data storage, and you don't have to procure and don't have to buy servers, you don't have to buy storage, and you get it almost as a service, which of course has a lot of benefits, but brings with it also a lot of complexities. And it's not everything taken for granted there.
What are some assumptions, I guess, that come with the cloud? Because I know that, there was, kind of something that we had in an email going back and forth, is, the cloud doesn't just mean the internet. And I know that was something that was mentioned in some of the posts, some of the comments rather, on social media, that what happens if the internet goes down, or is this just the internet? What is this? So let's talk about some of those, as we're talking about this definition and high level of it and how it works and such. But what are the ongoing assumptions of the cloud?
Yeah, so there's sometimes the assumption that the cloud means the internet. Like right now, we're having this conversation through the internet, but it doesn't necessarily mean cloud. So cloud, when we have like our data centers, like where they're deployed globally, and you can add resources and put resources in if there's a scale of the, for example, in Hurricane Ida, when we had 911 outages in multiple locations. So in these cases, when you have a peak of 911 calls, you can scale more services on demand. But it's not necessarily the internet. Today, you can get dedicated networks, which is isolated from the internet. So the internet can go totally down, and you still have access to the cloud, right? Because you still have access to these data centers, which is provided you from your service. And you don't have to rely on the internet at all. You can actually take the internet off, and you're still going to receive this 911 traffic. Because again, people say that 911 technologies is sometimes it's a victim of its own success. It's been here for 70, 80 years. It's worked like perfect for many times when we didn't have all of this amazing cloud technology and nothing, and it just worked. You pick up the phone, it would work. But and this is why I think it's harder like to see innovation there, because it's working some of the times, and there's a lot of liability here. But saying that, we still have a lot of missing pieces. We have a lot of information out there that we need to do our job, and you cannot just stay behind the on-premise wall and have everything segregated. You need to be able to pull in this information in a secured, a scalable manner. Pull in IoT information, video information, additional information, any information that can help you handle this 911 call better. And with the cloud, it enables you, and not necessarily through the internet path. You can have dedicated paths to those cloud data centers.
Now, are there a lot of standards that go into all of this? I can only imagine that there's some standards, but sometimes as well, sometimes standards also stifle innovation, and there are those who go beyond those standards to continue to build and evolve as technology continues to evolve as well.
Of course. There's many standards. One of the there's so many conventions and so many industry best standards you have to follow. Because like with the cloud, when you're coming, and there's so many cloud providers today, there's Google, there's Amazon, there's Microsoft, Azure, there's additional more, and they give you the tools to build these amazing platforms that we're using almost on a daily basis out of 911, like Netflix, like the platform this show is hosted on. One of the buzzwords these days is around zero trust architectures, ZTAs, and this is basically means that you in your own platform, in your infrastructure, trust nothing, and this is why what we imply and we do on daily basis. Sometimes we have the assumptions with on-premise and usually in IT departments as well. I've seen this in some centers. If you have something on premise, then it's okay, and you don't have to validate its security, its authenticity, and today, and specifically in the cloud, you cannot have this approach. You treat everything as it just if it's an attacker, if it's something that's coming from outside, you have to check it. So everything is not validated unless it's proven its identity. And this is one of the rising concepts in the cloud and security in general.
So what are some benefits then? What are some benefits of the cloud for 911? We kind of touched on a little bit here in the start, but what are some solid benefits to 911?
Yeah. So for 911 and in general, one of the major benefits is cost reduction. So today, when you're usually procuring a new solution, usually you have to buy, if it's an on-premise or hosted solution, you have to procure servers and buy storage and buy maybe additional disks and drives and CPUs. And if something burns off, you have to fix it and maintain it. And you have special ITs and people that understand this technology and buy support for it. So with cloud, the model is more pay as you go, pay as you scale. So pay only for the amount that we're using, and this allows also more cost-effective pricing models for the PSAP itself, for their benefit to get this service in a more flexible pricing model and also in a scalable model. If, for example, you have a convention, a huge convention then coming to the city, and you want to add, for example, 10 more stations or 20 more stations to be able to handle this load, or you have some, Super Bowl event. So you want, for example, to spun up 10 more stations in a flexible cost. This is something that's very hard with the on-premise architecture to do it elastically. So this is definitely cost is one of the benefits. Scaling, we discussed, definitely you can, the environment is very elastic. If you want 100 more stations, 20 more stations, it's a click of a button, because again, we can scale and use more resources to provide this robustness. Like if, for example, we're talking about, again, the Ida hurricane, if it took off a couple of electricity poles and couple of generators, and that's it. We've seen places when 911 services, like we had the outage of 911 services. It's unbelievable. With cloud, as we discussed, since we have multiple data centers deployed across the country, right? And I don't care in which server I'm running at. The platform doesn't care. The platform runs on all of them. And even if one data server goes down because of a natural event, catastrophe, or even a human error, it's okay. Nothing happens, because the platform continue working on other resources, and it's built for it. It's not static. It's more elastic. Data sharing capabilities, right? Since it's open and it's anywhere, it's on the cloud, I can connect, of course, securely additional devices to it. We're discussing about IoT devices, maybe drones, maybe third-party information that I can pull in and collaborate. I can collaborate easier between different agencies. Sometimes if we have a cross-jurisdiction event, today sometimes it's pretty hard when you hand off this call and you have verbally sometimes to deliver this information. So with cloud, the data sharing and collaborations becomes much easier. And also directly influence also like working from home, right? You can have a secure connection and just receive this information, receive these calls almost from anywhere. And this is also very relevant in cases when you have a natural catastrophe. And for example, the PSAP is going offline. We've seen this in California, in the wildfires, like total PSAPs could go on offline. And the most vital and critical piece and place that should be working during this catastrophe is being offline, and it could sometimes affect secondary PSAPs, and then you have to divert the call to somewhere else. So with the cloud, you can take all of the call takers, put them actually on a bus with a cellular dedicated network, and take 911 calls from a hill somewhere, and still be in this jurisdiction. And so this is just a little bit of the benefits of the cloud.
So, and that's pretty awesome right there, because that was one of the things that I wanted to compare this to as well, because recently the hurricane and all that hit down in Louisiana, and our friends over in New Orleans, they were going through a lot, and they still are going through a lot. But that was one of the things, as we're talking about benefits, that, and you just gave that example right there. What can be done with the cloud is by doing that exact same thing. And that's it's just in my head thinking about putting a bunch of dispatchers and call takers on a bus and going to some remote hill and just doing everything from there, and but stuff goes down in the main part, but you can end up turning things up. So just as an example, as we're talking about this, and we'll stay with this same scenario with the bus and being on a hill and such, how long would it take to be, because it's 911, everything's in a pinch, you got to be moving fast. How long, just, hypothetically speaking here in this scenario, would it take to get them set up on this bus to be able to take these calls and do what they're supposed to be doing?
How fast could they get from the PSAP to the bus? This is this this is the question. This is the only limit. So yes. So today with the EasyNets and EasyNets and i3 solutions as a very very key part in this, and they go so well together with cloud solutions, because you can since the calls in EasyNets are IP based, and you can route them very easily, and they're not bound to to physical trunks. You can just route any calls to anywhere, and you can set up a laptop, log in securely from a cellular network, and start routing calls. And we had so much brainstorming regarding these ideas with PSAPs. Even non-emergency situation in natural disaster. Even if you have a Super Bowl and you want to mark a dedicated geographical line around the Super Bowl arena, and take all of the 911 calls that coming from this place to a dedicated small PSAP you set up in a hotel nearby, and handle all of the emergency calls from there. This is possible. This is possible with EasyNet technologies and cloud technologies. And again, like so many industries benefiting from this kind of innovations. It's about time for 911 to benefit from this as well.
Yeah, of course. So in this example, as you're saying this, it's basically, let's just say it was me, and I had my laptop. This is like browser based. So this would be browser based, would be able to just get in securely and then just start taking it from right there. Hook up a headset, or like a headset that you have, and then just go to work.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because again, like with the cloud, you don't have. We're talking about security. You don't have the assumptions that that people is coming from a dedicated network, right? People can come from anywhere, right? As long as they prove their identity, and the identity is proven with industry best standard cryptographic mechanism that it cannot be forged. This is mathematically proven, and you have your own credentials and your own 2FA. You have multiple ways to authenticate and prove your identity, and only afterwards, yes, you're going to gain access. So delivering this information with the power of the cloud is definitely something that we're doing, and it's possible, and it's easy. And the hard work is really securing it properly, right? You cannot just let anyone answer 911 calls from anywhere. You really have to prove your identity, and this is part of the things we're working on.
No, a good friend of mine who was actually one of the images that I put up there, who had commented on this as well early on. I saw her recently. She had posted that she was out helping with an event. And I'm trying to remember now, I believe it was a festival, and she's got a laptop there, and she's working all of it, and so this is all part of this. And also, as you're talking about this as well, I mean, how does that work for video and images?
So with video and images, like it's also like the user is able to, since he's also out in the internet, out in the wild, and like he has an interface. He can upload any image you want, right? Of course, this is getting reviewed, and with the click of a button, he can also stream the video from his phone directly through our system, and we deliver all of these snapshots and media through an encrypted channel end to end, which going directly to the call taker for review. You can also block this if he doesn't want to see it. He has also the option to block this. And in terms of record management, everything is getting stored. There's no such thing that information just passes on the wire and disappears. And this is also one of the advantages of cloud. Like you can store almost infinitely. The cost of storage is very cheap. You don't have to manage, you don't have to provision it like from the PSAP side, and basically the call taker can now understand what's going on. And we've seen this in many cases when citizens sometimes send evidence. I've been in a case, I've been somewhere, I've seen a robbery. Where are you at? I went, but I took some pictures. Can you send me them? Yes, it's sending them. And then you can take these pictures as evidence and forward them to police officers and stuff like that, and first responders, so they'll be able to handle this situation better.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts about the video and images, the fact that there is the a way for some of those to be blocked, or for those not so much blocked but not to be seen, to be able to forward them to the field responders out there as first responders are taking these phone calls. And because one of the biggest things about this as well, that we've been touching on for a while now, for a few years, more so since about 2016, is the mental health and wellness of those dispatchers and call takers that are taking these calls, but now that are going to be seeing video and images and such that are coming in, to have the ability to pass those on to the field responders is a really good thing, but also something that we all have to think about, being in the ECC, that we really need to pay attention to that mental health and wellness aspect of it, and really prepare for it. As we're taking these phone calls, and it's not it's bad enough that we're not there and we can't see it because we're piecing it all together in our heads, which sometimes can be worse than what it is. But now we have to prepare for what it is that we're going to see. So it's good that there's the ability to push it forward to field responders out there.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a hard job as it is, being like sometimes seeing these graphical images, like you need the ability to control it. You need to be able to control it, and we have many working groups with call takers, and this is so important to think about also the mental health and how this affects any information that coming into the PSAP. How does this affect the call taker? Eventually, does it help him to do his job better? How does it affect his mental state? And it's definitely something that needs to be discussed and talking about, because this is a very important piece of it as we engage and pull more and more information for the PSAP.
Now, I want to go back a little bit here, as we were talking about, just as the example was of me just having a laptop and being like, hey, send me this information. You were saying, you got to be able to, authenticate and improve all of these credentials and such, to be able to get in for all the information that's going to be coming out. We're talking about cybersecurity, ransomware. So how can working with the cloud, reduce ransomware attacks and increase cybersecurity?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So just there's some amazing numbers. Just in the last 2 years, there was 177 ransomware attacks on government municipality in US alone, over like 39 states. And it's unbelievable. There was like millions of dollars paid to ransomware attackers that will go just to criminals and God knows where. There was millions of taxpayers' money spent on rebuilding all of this infrastructure. So much information that just been lost, and it's unbelievable, because today there are many on-premise deployments in municipalities, and usually they're like, in security they call like the candy bar effect. On the outside there's a perimeter, they are very strong, right? But in the inside they're quite soft. And because there's because I've seen many places where, like, if it's coming within my network, then it is okay. I don't need to validate it, and it's part of the security. And if it's on a local network, and it's okay. And this is exactly how many of these places getting breached. It could be a VPN connection that's getting leaked. It could be credentials that's getting lost. It could be outdated servers. Emails that are being sent, and eventually there's a way. There's many government municipalities that were even attacked through their IT providers. So their IT provider was compromised, and they have their connections to the internal infrastructure of the municipality. And once they're there, it's like it's like Disneyland for the attacker. Everything is open. They just go in, take the information, encrypt everything, do whatever they want. And this is one of the weakness points of usually when you're doing this kind of on-premise deployments. It doesn't have to be that way, even with on-premise solutions. So zero trust architecture, as we talk about. So in cloud, this is an approach you take from day one. It's not something that you can take for granted, because on the cloud, you're on the cloud, you're everywhere. So devices can connect to you from anywhere. So this is why you treat anything that comes to you from your service, even if it's internally, even if it's internal user, even if it's from your own office, from anywhere, you treat it as an attacker at the beginning. I don't know who you are, you're an attacker. So first you have to prove your validity, tell me who you are. Okay, now you've proven your validity, I know who you are. Okay, now what are you allowed to do? Because you also have a number of permissions that you can do. And this makes life very hard for an attacker. Now, it's not a magic formula. There have been many cloud companies that have been attacked, been compromised, right? It's not like you go to the cloud, that's it, you're secured and safe. But it's definitely something that you don't take these assumptions in the beginning, that you're like in a secured place. So you have to secure yourself all the time and think about it and do constant pen testing and test yourself. So you're constantly thinking about it and improving.
See, and that was one of the things that I was going to ask as well. What are some of the things that ECCs can do to protect themselves from a lot of stuff that's going on? Just a simple email can take down a center. The company that I used to work for, we were doing like constant testing and stuff that was going on. Just simple emails that would come in, and it would just be a test to see, are you going to click this? Does it look weird? There's different pieces of an email that might look odd. A signature might be off, or the name might be different. There's all these little things that you can look at, but that sometimes people overlook, and then they see it and like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and click on this, and then everything is closed off. Like, what are some things that people can do to, I guess, protect themselves from that?
Yeah. So there's many. This is like a whole theory. There's aspect of from human engineering perspective, because there's so many sophisticated emails people send, like, this is super urgent, this is something from your boss, and you need to click. And sometimes it's really hard, because they even know the names or the people that's working with you sometimes. They know, for example, the name of your director, so they will try to send the email from him. So it's very hard. But and this is from human engineering perspective. From technology perspective, I would say, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The best practices from IT perspective and standpoint are out there. You need to update your software, you need to update your operating systems, you need to keep not just your security perimeter, you need to look at the new best standards like ZTA, and making sure that you validate every user and every access. So there's a lot of things that can be done from IT perspective to secure your network. And the bad practice is, of course, sometimes it's not updating on or making assumptions that if I'm in the network, that everything is going to be okay. But a lot of the municipalities and the governments are taking these steps forward and improving. And we've seen this in the past, like making life harder for the attackers. But we know as we improve, the attackers improve, and they always try to find the weakest spots. So this is why we always have to think about where is the next attack vector, and trying to minimize my attack surface and making sure it's secured.
Now, we've gone through some of the assumptions, the kind of the definition of the cloud, and what others have thought as well. As I mentioned, a lot of them from social media, and we also talked about how this works in terms of technology, equipment, and some assumptions, benefits, all of this good stuff. But what about the power of the cloud? And when I say the power of the cloud, I mean, like stories. What are some stories out there where, there have been, let's just say, for example, some rescues. I know that there's stories out there, and do you have any of those? Do you know of any stories of those types where it really proves the power of the cloud?
Yes. So we have we have many of these cases. So the cloud brings a lot of robustness and flexibility with it, as we discussed. Just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen like the Ida hurricane, and in one of the counties there was an outage in 911. So a woman was stuck with her vehicle, which is filling up with water. She tried to dial 911, and simply it got disconnected because there was a 911 outage because of the hurricane in this area. Eventually, first responders contacted Amir, one of our CEO and my co-founder, and requested his help to track her down, to understand where she was. So he's just like he's opened his laptop, he's initiated the system, he called her, he contacted her, and he was able to receive her location through our system, right? And just deliver this location to the first responders, which, when after a couple of minutes, eventually just went to this location and saved her life. So this is just one of the amazing cases when the flexibility of the system, and you don't have to be in a specific location, and you can gauge almost any user. And sometimes, you need this fast response, agile response. Doesn't matter. I just need to get it working. I need this location right now in this stressful situation. And this is exactly the power of the cloud coming to its vision.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into it, but especially stories like this, where because a few years ago, a lot of people were kind of not so much scoffing at it, but we're like, 911 probably won't ever be, in the cloud, because how would you make this work, or how would things go, how would this happen? And a lot of companies are doing this, and this, like you were saying, this is just proof of that power of the cloud, and it's amazing to be able to do that. And I'm pretty sure I read that article as well. There was something on LinkedIn that was about it, about this specific story.
It was Amir's first time being a call taker. It was like he said he understood now, like how this job is so hard and demanding. Like he was so stressed, but like when you receive this error location, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. They sent it. They rescued her, and she's thanking him. But it's unbelievable sometimes, these cases.
Right. Yeah. It is definitely amazing, in the fact that we're able to do that now, where years ago it's just there wasn't a lot we could do. So this is always good to be able to be moving forward, especially with technology like this. Now, as we go into the wrap up of this round, this has been an excellent round to learn so much more about the cloud, but also, for those who are watching, whether it be right now or the replay, there's, and I said this in the beginning as well, when I was in dispatch, I didn't care how it worked, just as long as it worked. It was magic, basically. It was basically how everyone saw it. It's like, oh, it's magic. We don't know how it works. It just works. But it's good to be able to have conversations like this, because people need to be more informed and learn more about what is going on the back end, and how things do definitely work. And for me, I don't know what it was in the beginning, but we didn't get a lot of that information. And again, a lot of people didn't care, but people are caring more. People are learning more. They want to learn more about this, and people need to be more informed. So it's good to have conversations like this, and especially as we've got an audience as well, and to be able to continue to push it forward, that people will be able to watch this more and answer as well. But people don't like change. People don't ever like change, right? So as we go into the wrap up of this round, I want to ask you to see what you think when it comes to new technology, when it comes to talking about what we've been talking about this whole time, the cloud, the facts, the myths, the assumptions, all of this. For those who are still kind of on the fence, or those thoughts of not wanting to make that change, what do you say to that?
So first of all, there's now, as we speak, 911 centers that using cloud technologies. They can just, they can they can believe my words or not. I think the best thing is to see it for your eyes. So there's now many PSAPs, and 911 eventually is a small community. You know people, and you can just go to centers and see for yourself how these cloud technologies benefits and save lives. It's the difference between where you are and what's going on, and just a second, I'm gonna wait for this Sunny Alley location, come on, try to repeat it again and again, and between bam, a location, bam, you see what's going on the other side. I think this is the game changer. This is the difference. I can talk all day about technologies and cloud and security and a lot, but when you see it for yourself with your eyes, when you come to these centers that is cloud enabled, and you see this richness of information coming in, you will see it for yourself and say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with the current technology when I'm just with the phone and try to understand what's going on. And you're seeing this, you're seeing the numbers that dispatch times are decreasing by 60-50%, just going down. So I think this is the best answer. Just encourage people to learn more, as you say. This is now becoming, I think, one of the biggest trends to learn, to expand your visions, and really just to go out there, ask people, see it for yourself, go to one of these centers, see what's going on, how they operate. And I think this is the biggest proof you can see for yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alex, for being on. And I am so glad we were able to do it at this time and not 3 a.m.
Thank you for having me, Ricardo. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
It has been excellent. I'll be right back here with you. And for those who are watching right now, thank you so much for being part of round 23 of the Dispatchers Roundtable, as we've been talking about moving your PSAP to the cloud, the facts and myths, and just I'm learning a lot as well. I know a lot from my time as an industry partner, but this is awesome to be able to have these conversations and to have all of you here to be learning more as well, to be more informed on this side of 911 and to see what is going into everything that you are doing and how the technology is pushing forward, how 911 is evolving. So this is amazing to be able to have these conversations. And this round has been sponsored by InDigital Rapid Deploy as well as Carbine. And if you have any comments, questions, or you have a topic that you want to have on the Dispatchers Roundtable, you can send us an email, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, that is @91podcast. You can like us on Facebook, that is facebook.com/withinthetrenchespodcast. This can be seen on Facebook, LinkedIn Live, as well as YouTube and Twitter. And if you're looking for any bonus content, you can check us out, and that's going to be patreon.com/WTTpodcast. And then for patrons, a perk, you end up getting the audio versions of all the Dispatchers Roundtable as well as Open Mic Live. And then for the flagship show, Within the Trenches podcast, you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. We have got another round coming up next week, Wednesday, and then we have got one also on October 6th, and that is going to be with Reverend Dr. Edie DeVilbiss, and we're going to be talking about family and dispatch and foundations and just so much more that is going to be coming up for the Dispatchers Roundtable. So I'll see you in the next one.